Now just give me a second. Back to the slide deck. Can everyone see my slides okay? Fabulous. So now what I wanted to find out from everyone is, do you have a strategy for the new financial year? Please drop in the chat if you have a financial, just say yes or no. So if you have a strategy and a very clear plan on what you want to do, drop in the chat, say yes or no. No Bernadette, no Mariska, no Susan. What else do we have? You think so, Kiralee? Lovely to hear. Not really, Clinton. Hopefully after today. Yes, that's hopefully the case. Leah? Yes, Thomas. Very good. Not really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask is, Thomas, would you like to share what your strategy is for the next financial year? We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, my strategy. So I've been given the opportunity to jump into property development and property real estate agent. So what I'm getting in now is waiting to get my license. After I get my license, then I'll be able to be a full-time real estate agent. And having that job as well as the digital side, real estate's do all the marketing and everything. Owning my own business in marketing, I've got that opportunity to pull that into the real estate side.
Mm-hmm.
So basically all that money will convert into my digital side.
And what's your business, Thomas, if you mind me asking?
So I'm a business development manager and I own a digital agency company. So we do basically websites, marketing, SEO, we do promotional goods, offline marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big variety of what we do now. So I've got a team behind me to get all that done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good opportunity to basically have some kind of side where you can feed your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because I've lost a lot of opportunities this year is because funding. Because if you don't have the funds there, you can't get that opportunity of coaching. See, I've had coaching that would cost nearly $5,000 and upwards,
Mm-hmm.
and basically it just wasn't worth me doing it straight away. So
Mm-hmm.
having this opportunity come up now has gave me the upper hand to work on my digital side.
That's great to hear. Well done. Lovely to hear that you have a very clear strategy. And being in the marketing space, you would have an idea of strategy as well. So that's really good. That's really good to hear. Yeah, and you touched on a very important point as well around coaching. That's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. In the last year alone, I've actually spent over 100 grand on coaching to make sure I'm surrounded by the right people that actually can get my business to where I need it to go.
Mm-hmm.
And by having the right people, your business can propel you further, and you can learn the mistakes from other people rather than you having to figure them out on your own, So
yeah,
absolutely love that point. So well done there. I would love to hear from you, Kiralee. What is your strategy for the next financial year? If you don't mind.
We basically realized we've been undercharging for basically our whole lives. So we finally sat down and did our proper business plan, which people kept asking me if we had, and I finally sat down and did one and realized that we were undercharging because we were basically working because we love it, not because we were trying to make money. And for us to get any bigger, we need to have money to reinvest back into the business. So this year we have put the prices up. We're also putting on another staff member. We're investing more in our advertising, and we're actually just sort of getting all our numbers set up at the beginning of the year to know what we're actually aiming for rather than just sort of making it up as we go along.
Very good. And to explain what your business model is to everybody, what it is that you do and what problems you solve.
So we declutter people's homes. So we basically our main market is women who are overwhelmed. So either busy mums or people who are downsizing, moving house, anyone who's just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff they have in their house. So we go in, it was just 2 of us, there's now 5 of us, and you go in one at a time for 3 hours at a time generally. And we basically go in and empty an area and take away anything that they don't want that's appropriate for gifting, and we gift that through our charities and our buy nothings and things like that.
So so now you have your pricing model sorted. How are you going to market it to bring in more of the business? What's your plan there?
We really haven't been doing a lot of advertising. So we've done a lot of word of mouth and just local advertising and things like that. So we're actually doing a little bit of paid Facebook and Instagram marketing. We've really put a lot more effort into our social media, and believe me, we were starting from a very low base, so
Yeah.
it's not hard to improve what we were doing on
Yeah.
social media. But we're just putting
everybody does that, Carolee, when they start out, because at the end of the day, you're wearing so many hats as a business owner, and you need to, you know, a lot of people be like, oh yeah, I'm going to try a bit of this before I realize I actually need help with it, and before I can actually afford it. So yeah, a lot of people.
And balancing our how many appointments we have. You know,
Yeah.
there's no point advertising when we're booked 3 weeks in advance.
That's a great
So
problem to have, though. Great problem to have.
it's a little bit exhausting and overwhelming. It sounds really great, but it's really actually not really fun when you're turning away people because you can't do the jobs. So we have that's why. So it's really balancing and not biting off more than we can chew.
Yeah. And
no point pretending you're organized when you're actually a big hot mess at home, you know. 100%. So we're actually making sure that we're walking the walk as well as talking the talk.
100%. And when did you realize that you're undercharging?
I guess we sat down and did we sort of knew, because we weren't having enough money to reinvest, and I'm not paying myself, which I guess is pretty normal when you own a business, is that you spend a bit of time setting it up and not paying yourself. But I guess it got to the point where I'm spending so much time on this business that it's not viable for me to continue unless I can pay myself a wage as well. And the business plan, when we did do it, actually very clearly showed that we were not charging enough money.
And have you explored any other income streams apart from just the service that you provide?
Not within Queens of Clutter.
That would be something to look at for the next financial year, because you could potentially look at another strategy that creates some sort of passive income or creates multiple revenue streams, because that's where the magic is, especially when what you do is so resource heavy.
Yeah, it is very service heavy. I don't like the idea of courses, because I feel like decluttering is a bit like losing weight. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do, but of course no one actually does it until someone's standing next to you. So I feel like if I made a course about it, then really, how is there any different than reading a book? Do you know what I mean? There's still no one actually there making you do it. So I feel like it would be a bit of a sellout. But
doesn't need to be an online course, but there's other opportunities that you could do. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
there are people in the industry who do video consults, but I really feel like the magic of our service is that we're there helping you.
Amazing. And you're based in Perth as well, aren't you, Carolee? I will definitely keep you in mind, because I know a lot of people who are hoarders.
Yes, please send me to your hoarding friends.
We all are at some point. I'm like, oh, I just cleared out my wardrobe recently, and I literally, I love my clothes, but 6 bags of clothes came out of the wardrobe. I'm like, oh my Lord, how did that even fit in the wardrobe, you know? But yeah, it was very hard to part with my clothes, I have to admit. So I can definitely think you'd be like fairy godmother to a lot of people, that's for sure. So yeah. Thank you so much for sharing what it is that you do and your strategy for the next financial year. So it's lovely to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you, Clinton. What's your strategy? I know you say not really, but I'd love to. You sound amazing, Carolee. That's lovely to hear. Lovely to hear all the compliments between all of you. Fabulous. Clinton, I'd love to hear from you. If you just want to unmute yourself, I'd love to hear what your strategy is.
Sure. I work in technology. I work with inventors mostly. I've spent the last 10 years requalifying to operate as a patent attorney. So I'm about to start that again in the next week or so.
Wow.
So I'm basically at the moment I'm working on systems to support what I do. So the kind of work that I do has a lot of time limits, deadlines, information, and it needs good systems to look after it. Otherwise, time limits get missed. The mental overload becomes horrendous. I've been there before. I didn't have enough systems, and I eventually quit. It was too hard. Yep. So the secret is getting the systems in place, which is what I'm starting to work on.
Yeah, 100% agree. I have to just touch on that point as well, because that was something that we experienced this year. So from December to May, I didn't take on any clients for nearly 6 months, because it's okay, the business is at that point where we need the systems in order to scale up the business and ensure that we can keep up with the demand, because otherwise, if you grow without the right operations and the right systems behind you, it's a car crash down the road. And the reason how I know that is because I work for 3 other agencies in Perth that just never said no and just took on clients. But the system itself broke, which essentially is the backbone of the business, and that comes down to customer service. So yeah, I commend you for realizing that now, because that is a huge issue that a lot of business owners face. They don't realize how important systems are. And I think when you're at that point, it's like, okay, I really need to focus on it. It's a really good place to be. It is. So well done you. So yeah, keep going. And I hope you find
Okay.
today incredibly useful for what we're about to share with you as well.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thanks, Clinton. Lovely to have you here. Now, next, what I wanted to share was, bear with me. As this is a networking event, I would like everyone to drop, if you haven't already, I know the girls have been reaching out to say drop your handles, your Instagram handles directly into the chat, and the girls will connect with you on my behalf. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you. And also Facebook. My personal profile is Sonia Patutsky Raymond. The majority of people that are on my friends list are business owners. And then my personal brand, Sonia the Search Queen, Facebook page, business page. Now, without further ado, I am going to introduce you to my beautiful fellow queen, Julie Cohen, who is the numbers queen. And she is honestly phenomenal at numbers. She has a way of breaking down numbers so it actually makes sense and it paints a story of your business. Now, Julie, I'm very passionate about her business because we both have very similar beliefs when it comes to educating business owners on and reducing all the overwhelm. So Julie is going to speak to you guys about creating wealth and time freedom, but Julie is also going to introduce herself and her company and why she started her business as well. And Julie, I will scoot over here and let you drive. Now, Julie, you've been waiting so patiently to get me to stop talking.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice. I've been sitting clearly to the side, but watching you all and hearing you all, and it's so nice to see you all and to be able to talk to you today. As some of you will know, I head up the Horizon group of companies, and essentially what we do is we look after business owners. Business owners have one of the hardest jobs in the world. They wear a lot of hats, everything from, if you think about what you do in your business, there's people, there's government compliance, there's tax, bookkeeping,
we're moving around.
You know, there's marketing, there's sales, there's client service. You know, as a business owner, you wear a whole heap of hats. And sometimes it's more of whether it's bookkeeping or tax, financial planning.
Sorry, the sound dropped out and we missed that whole section.
Sorry, Julie, I'm going to put my mic on you.
I was
So typical. Here you go.
Thank you.
Can you hear?
All I was a head that was bobbing around and listening to myself. So I'm sorry for that. So she's got a whole thing going on at the same time here, guys. So I'm not sure what you heard and what you didn't hear, but in a nutshell, we look at businesses, and I say cradle to grave, because business owners are incredibly hardworking, passionate people who understand that realistically business is just a vehicle for creating your wealth. And so the business is designed to give you wealth to have the life of your dreams, whatever that is. And so that is generally over a period of time that happens. That's not a very infrequently is anyone creating their wealth from their business overnight. And somebody that's told you that has 10 years that they haven't told you about, would be my take on things generally. So business owners need to be supported, and there's probably the part that you missed was all the part that I was talking about, the different hats that business owners wear. And part of wearing those hats and part of developing the business is knowing that you are creating the wealth and you're putting it towards a plan for the future. So creating the wealth and time freedom is really around a lot of the time when I talk to business owners, it's about acknowledging that, you know, everybody thinks that they're great at marketing, let's say, or they think that they're great at bookkeeping. But quite honestly, if you consider the time and the attention that it takes for you to learn those skills, it's often at some point, not always straight away, obviously, but as your business grows, it's to be able to outsource those things that you can then focus on what you're really good at in the business. Because every business owner is good at something. They've got their skill sets in a particular area. So when we also talk about wealth and time freedom, we're talking about that the business has different phases that it goes through. And I always talk about it as steps. And as Clinton mentioned before, you have to have those systems in place to be able to scale. And all business owners get to a point, or businesses get to a point where they go, oh no, I can't go any further, or I can't get any higher, or I can't do anything better than what I'm doing now. And that's generally the point where they need to put those systems in place underneath to then go to the next level of growth. But that's all part and parcel of a growing business. So I know that Kiralee, you were talking about it being overwhelming with the amount of people, the demand that you've got. And part of having that plan for the year is about going, okay, what demand am I catering for? And what else do I need to get in place to ensure I can fulfill on that plan, so that you know that you're able to, you've got a particular point that you're heading towards and that you're achieving. That was creating wealth. Yeah, well, I think we've done that one. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about, oh, sorry, I don't know how to make it go forward, is something that I call the fear of numbers. So numbers are really quite emotional. And every now and then I do have someone that says to me, no, numbers aren't emotional. Well, if I say to you, or I ask you, how much do you weigh? Or how old are you? Normally, most people will have some sort of physical response. They'll feel, you know, they'll feel a bit red, or their heart will beat a bit faster, or numbers are emotional in our society. And the numbers of your business are even more emotional normally. And all I can say to you is numbers are just a story. They're not something that you need to be emotional about in terms of the negative side of that emotional scale. So some people look at numbers and go, oh, I should be bigger, or I'm not as good as somebody else, or I'm not. There's always that comparison that quite often goes hand in hand with the numbers. What I would say is that the biggest tip that I can give you is to make sure that your bookkeeping is up to date. It's as simple as that. If you keep your bookkeeping up to date, and again, this is one of those areas where I'd say you're probably not the best person to do that. You're probably better off paying someone to do that, so that you can then have numbers that you know how your business is tracking. And that's really important, not from you know, this is, I'm going to do bad, or any of those sorts of things. They're goals, they're achievements, and they're things to work towards. If you have your bookkeeping up to date and keep it up to date, what happens is when you go through that growth curve, as we were talking about before, the steps, you know that maybe you're not going to have the cash flow that you need to be able to fund the next piece of equipment, or the next growth expansion that you've got, or the next thing that's going to be big and need money in your business. And when you know that ahead of time, then you can quite easily work out, oh, in 6 months with the growth that I've projected, I can then go to the bank with a story 6 months in advance of this is where I'm going, this is what's happening with my business, for them to be able to give you the funds easily. And for you to be able, you're ahead of what's going on. And that generally takes the emotion out of the numbers as well. So it is always, I work with obviously lots and lots of business owners, and the ones that I see that are really super successful are the ones that are looking at their numbers on a regular basis to know where it is that they're going. Now, the other thing with the numbers is there's a big difference between cash flow and what accountants term profit. And people generally have the two of them confused. What I see a lot is that business owners are looking at one single bank account, and their heart rate goes up and down depending on the bank account going up and down, particularly if they're paying BAS on a quarterly basis. And when the payment gets made and their bank account goes down, their heart rate goes down. And then it takes a while for the bank account to creep back up again. It doesn't need to be like that. My tip number 2 for taking the fear out of the numbers is to create buckets. I call them buckets. Open another account in the business name and put a set amount aside to put your BAS payment away from the main bank account. What that does is it automatically gives you less emotional up and down because you're not related to one bank account anymore. The business owners that I see do really, really well are the ones that have got those bucket accounts open because they're taking the emotion out of it. Can I ask, is there anyone want to put into the chat box that they are using a bucket system? So that's the multiple bank accounts to sort of separate things out. We got anyone who's doing that? Oh, we've got a couple. Yes. Excellent, I can see. Oh, that's fabulous. And some people have got a few different bucket accounts as well. It's excellent. It's a simple technique that does make a great deal of difference to the fear that drives a business owner. Okay. Now, the last thing that I was going to talk about is tax minimisation, because I get asked about this all the time. So I can feel my throat going funny. No, it's fine, thank you. Okay, so I have a lot of, and I'm going to pick on the Irish clients. Hi. I have a lot of Irish clients that do come to me that say, I want to pay no tax, not one single cent of tax. Not that I'm saying that Sonia said that.
Guilty.
Okay, what I can tell you is in Australia, that's not possible. Okay, it's just not possible. Clearly I do tax every day of my life and I pay tax. So if there was a way to pay no tax, I would definitely do it for myself first. It's not possible in this country. The aim of the game is to, oh, we've got a raised hand.
Cara raised her hand. Cara, you want to ask a
Sorry,
question?
I've just logged in from the car. I'm just saying, hi, I'm here, and I will mute you.
Hello, welcome.
Cara is one of our students in the online program. Thank you, Cara, for being here. That's no problem, lovely. Yeah,
There you go. There you go. Thank you. Tax is something that we pay as a advantage, I guess, of having and living in a country where we have facilities that we do. I'm very fortunate to be married to a South African man who will tell you if you don't want to pay any tax, you'll end up living in somewhere where, like South Africa, where you don't have roads, you don't have the facilities, the hospitals, the education that we are privileged to have. On the other side of that is you never want to pay too much tax. You never want to pay more than you should. You want to pay the minimum amount possible. And there's several ways to ensure that you pay the minimum amount possible as a business owner. And I'm not talking about tax evasion, because that just ends up with you and me in jail. We don't want to do that, but there are legitimate ways that you can minimise the amount of tax that you pay that really involve, more than anything, keeping your bookkeeping up to date, staying open to education. And what we do with our clients in April or May each year is we look at the 9 months worth of trading that's occurred, and then we look at strategies that we can do, and most of them require something to be done before the 30th of June, and then make suggestions to reduce the tax. Okay, and again, they are suggestions because every business owner prioritises things differently, and every business is different. But overall, it really is about just continually asking questions and having a plan in place. Ah, Bernadette has a question. Sure. What was Bernadette's question?
Bernadette's question. I don't think she really understood the bucket. So where are we? I'm not big enough. Are you referring to So our business isn't big enough. So this is Bernadette. Bernadette, we might unmute Bernadette and see what her question might be.
Okay, what I would say is your business is always big enough to have a separate account to take to separate some of the emotion out. So let's.
Bernadette, do you want to unmute yourself?
Sorry, we can't
Yes.
hear. Oh,
There you go.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't actually have a question. My little Irish neighbours just were arriving in and I was just waving at them.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I wasn't being rude. Sorry.
Picked up on your comments in the chat, and we just wanted to know if your question was answered. So in terms of when you said I'm not big enough, and you weren't sure what we were referring to.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. No, when you were talking about your vast payments and that, I don't unfortunately earn enough to pay tax yet. So I was just saying that it didn't refer to me personally yet, but I do keep my business account expenses and my wage separate. That's all.
Excellent. That's very good. Okay. And we'll look forward to you growing big enough so that.
Please God.
You do. Yes.
Please God. You need some skincare? I'm your girl. Okay, thanks.
So I'm not sure how much longer I've got, but I figure if I has anyone got any questions that and look, for me, it doesn't matter what your question is. There is no silly question, because you're always going to learn something, and everyone is going to learn something from your question. So if there's a tax question, a business question, a bookkeeping question, financial planning, business insurance, life insurance, all of those things are things that we cover, and I can either answer or certainly get you some more information on if I can't answer it.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you are doing your financial planning and working out like your quarterly income, if you're working on a project which goes over 6 months and you're putting out your deposit, your initial quotes in one quarter, and then it transfers, you don't actually get paid until the new quarter or the new financial year, how does it go into the quarter of when you actually received payment, or does it go into where you've kind of allowed that money to come in terms of when you've actually sent the invoice out?
Okay, are you talking from a tax point of view?
Tax point of view and general just planning when you're looking at your flow per quarter.
Okay. So generally what I would say is cash is king.
Mhm.
Okay, so you want to be monitoring your cash all the time. So I would be looking at what cash are you planning on getting in when, rather than, you'll have a bit of cash influx from the deposits, but the majority of your cash will come, in future months based on what you're saying. When you're doing projections, look, a lot of accountants do it based on when it is that, you're earning it. I don't care about that. You just want to know about cash.
Mm.
Cash is important because no business, no matter how good your profit is, unless you are collecting enough money so that you've got cash to keep that business going, that's what counts. You
Yep.
have to have profit, otherwise you're not going to have a business long term. But ultimately, monitoring your cash is your biggest goal.
Yep. Cool. Perfect.
Great. Anyone got any other questions that you'd like to ask?
It's tax time. It's a very important time. I'm sure everyone should have lots of questions around tax.
Most people don't
Jill-
like to talk about.
Julie, I have one. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, Clinton. Yeah.
Checking your tax position in, say, April seems a bit late.
Mhm.
Like, shouldn't we be talking about that today?
Okay. So if we're talking about it in April, we've got 9 months of data. So we've got 9 months of how the business has travelled. So from the 1st of July to the 31st of March. So that means that we've got a good idea, because from that 9 months, we then project what it would be to the 30th of June. So that we can come back and go, okay, based on what you've done up until now, if we say it's roughly the same, we know how much income and how much profit you're going to have for the financial year. And then that gives us an idea of, if this is how much profit you've got, well, this is the tax that you're going to pay. Now, what can we do in the next 3 months to make sure that we pay less tax?
Yeah, I get that.
Mhm.
So let's just stick some numbers to it. So let's say you look at it in April, and you've got $200,000 worth of turnover, not a great deal of expenses, not a great deal of tax deductible items. You've now got 3 months to deal with a $70,000 tax liability.
Oh no, okay. So you're talking about two different things.
Okay.
So in April, we're looking at what your tax liability is up to the 30th of June. Okay.
Yep.
But that's not due and payable until the following May the 15th. So then you've got, technically, if you're talking months, you've got until you've got 10 months to, is that 10 months? 10 months to save up for that amount of tax. But up until the 30th of June, we're trying to work out, okay, let's say that you had $50,000 is what your tax bill is and is going to be in May. Well, is there a way that we can reduce it to 40 or 30 or something?
Right. So
Okay.
to stick a strategy at it, like a typical strategy that that my parents used to use with great effect, and we're talking somewhat larger numbers, but they would be clear they're going to have a tax issue, and they would just go out and buy a property. Then they would advance pay a year's payments on the property, and they would then rent it out. And then so they've got a instead of paying all of that money to the tax man, which was one option, they
That's
end up
exactly right.
sticking it into their own property.
That's right. So that's exactly the type of thing that we'd be talking about in April.
Right.
Is, okay, what are we looking at doing now? Because there's lots of different strategies that are different for different business owners. And some people will love that strategy that you're talking about, to go out and buy a property, and somebody else will go, I don't have the cash for that. So what else can we suggest? What else is useful? So that's why it's never a here one size fits all. It's very specific to each individual.
Yeah.
But look, what you can do, and anyone who's got a question, you know, I deal with lots of questions all the time. You can, and I know that the girls are going to put it out there, you can book a call with me at any time. And I'm happy to have a chat with you and answer any specific questions that you might have. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The girls are going to send it out to you tomorrow, or you can go to
The chat and there's a
oh,
link
they've
to
just
your,
put it in
yeah.
there. There you go. It's in the chat. You can go and book a time to chat with me. I can tell you that today I've spoken to 4 different clients today, and 3 of them have said to me again, what is this BAS? What is GST? And why do I have to pay it? So it's a very, very, very common question that one day I'm actually going to sit down and do a video on so that I can share it, because it just comes up so often. And it doesn't have to be a difficult conversation.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hand you back to the woman who is the best marketer I have ever seen, and is clearly here to give you all value and not just share her beautiful accent and her beautiful face. So I'll hand back to Sonia, but please, you know, book in for a call with me. I'm more than happy to help answer your questions. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Julie. You're a legend.
Oh, now you need to
I
unhook
do
me.
need to unhook you. Yes, thank you. Big round of applause for Julie. Thank you. Now, what I might do, just get my mic on. Now, to ensure there's no more technical difficulties, can everyone hear me okay? Can you drop in the chat? Fab. Thanks, guys. Oh, this is high. Okay, perfect. So, what I'm going to do is just share my screen. Now, a lot of you guys would know who I am, and some of you don't. So I am going to share exactly who I am and what I stand for. My name is Sonia Patutsky Raymond, and as you know, I'm Irish. I am the proud owner of the Marketing Republic. We're a nationwide agency with clients all over Australia. We are currently sitting on 100% client retention. We have not lost a single client since my business started in 2018. My personal brand is called Sonia the Search Queen, and the reason why I have, I suppose, niched into my personal brand and made that a huge forefront of what I do is because I know badly that the industry, I know very much so that the industry needs a lot of trust within the online marketing space. And my business came about because of, from clients that I have actually worked with before had actually approached me. So my business started in August 2018. And literally started by 10 clients approaching me in the space of 1 week, 3 years ago. So when I talk about my business, it's probably one of my biggest achievements to date. It is, sorry. Apart from being a fair mom to Coco and Milo, should I say. But yeah, it's one of the biggest achievements I've had to date. And literally since the pandemic alone, my business has now quadrupled since last year. And my business was set up to bring about positive change within the industry. The business is built on trust, respect, loyalty, and integrity. And I very much wanted to humanize Google and educate business owners so that they can be more informed and make better decisions around their marketing, and especially around digital marketing for that matter. Everything is very transparent with digital, which is why I started the business. So what I might do is just explain to you some of the brands that I have actually worked on as well. So I've worked on MSWA Mega Home Lottery. Sorry, just want to bring up the chat here as well, just to make sure. Google are no fun. Yeah, well, wait, stay tuned now, Clinton. Everyone says that until they start working with me. But yeah, perfect. Sorry, Cara, I think you dropped out, but I have you back in there, lovely. So these are some of the clients that I've worked with across Australia and on a global scale. I've worked with Guinness, Jameson, Nestle, Special K. These are some of the brands that I've worked with. Again, not to just to name a few. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to just bring up the chat here just so I can monitor if there's any questions. Panasonic, Smooth Start. What else have we got? Benefit Cosmetics and Skoda. So when I say I've worked with these on an international scale, and that is from traditional advertising as well as digital. So when I talk about traditional, I talk about TV, radio, press, print, below the line, above the line, through the line. And when I came to Australia, that is where I niched directly then into Google. And that is more so because I realized the way the industry was going. And I realized that the minute I got myself into digital, it was one of these things that where the flick just switched in my mind. And I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. So without further ado as well, I do want to actually explain a bit about my background story and how it all started. So as a young girl, for me, I definitely struggled in my teens, struggled very much. I knew I never really quite fitted in a lot of different groups I was part of. And I had a very rough time in school growing up. And from that was a lot to do with my parents splitting up at a very young age. And I saw my mom struggle, and I saw her work 3 jobs to keep a roof over her head. And at that time, I could have really done with seeing a lot more of my parents, because I know when kids are really young, they need a lot of their parents' time. So a lot of what my overall mission is with my business is to ensure that business owners can become more profitable, so that they can work smarter, not harder, and they can spend the majority of their time with their family, so they don't have to worry about cash flow. So my goal and my mission of why I feel I've been put on this earth is to help businesses grow. It literally lights me up the most. I did not intend on setting up a business. The business actually found me. And in order to set up a business, you have to have a massive amount of self-belief. And growing up as a teen, I definitely struggled with having a lot of self-belief. I was always that girl was that bit different. Came from a very small town in Ireland. I had a foreign surname in those days, which was a Polish surname. So my dad is German and my surname was Polish. And as a kid, I was quite talented. I was a dancer, I was a singer, I was a model. I was always on in the newspaper. So I was quite center stage for a lot. And with that comes a lot of unwanted attention. And for me, that is where my spiral of self-belief in myself actually started. I didn't really have a whole lot of self-belief, but one thing that I did learn from that experience was I'm going to make something of myself, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. And so what I did was I went to Limerick. I'm from Kerry originally, if anybody doesn't, if people don't know Ireland, but I'm from Kerry. And I moved to Limerick to start my degree. And so I did my degree, and I finished that after 4 years I done a higher degree, honours degree in marketing and management, Bachelor of Business in marketing and management. And then I moved on. Then I said, okay, I always wanted to do a master's. And for me, I just said, you know what, I've already built up the momentum of finishing my degree. I might as well do my master's while I'm at it. So off I went, worked full time, done my master's, and did that for a year. So I graduated top of my class with a first class honours in marketing, consumption and society. So Masters of Science and Bachelor of Business in marketing. Now, when I was there, when I was doing my education, I worked full time. So I worked in finance on my own education. Mommy and daddy didn't help me at all. I did it all on my own bat, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to make something of myself, and that was my higher calling. And I wanted to make an impact in the world, and I wanted to make the world a better place as best I could. So off I went anyway to Dublin and worked at one of the largest agencies in Dublin, worked on Guinness Skoda. That's where my career in advertising started, apart from just the experience that I got obviously throughout my education. And then went and worked at another agency in Dublin as well, and worked on Special K and Nestle and Skoda. And then I realized from the age of 16, there was one moment in my life I was like, okay, Australia is where I'm meant to be. So from the age of 16, I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Australia, but it just needs to be the right time. And my sister ended up moving over here before me, and she was due her first baby. And the minute she told me she was pregnant, I was like, okay, that's me. I'm coming to Australia. I'm going to be there for the birth of the baby. So I arrived in Australia in 2013, October 2013, and literally arrived 2 weeks before my niece was born. It was honestly the most rewarding experience of my life. Met my husband 2 weeks later, which my now husband, who I've actually known over 22 years, but it took us moving to Australia to actually find each other. And we're married over 3 years now. I am the fur mom to Coco and Milo. And if anyone doesn't follow me on Instagram, these dogs are the most spoiled dogs that ever walk the planet. Coco and Milo, just so you don't know, are these two beautiful Labradoodles. These are my fur kids. They very much are our children for this point in time in our lives. I'm absolutely crazy about them. And the interesting thing is, I wasn't actually a dog lover until I met my Coco. So Coco and Milo, as you can see, are the most spoiled dogs. They actually go to daycare as well. So I'm just owning it. Crazy dog lady here. And in Ireland, Bernadette, you'll agree with me, in Ireland, dogs are left outside in the cold. They're not brought into the house, really. They're not really doggy daycare. So all my family think I'm off my rocker at home, but sure, I don't care. So yeah, I started my career then over here in a digital agency as well, Titan Digital. So I worked for Titan for about 5 years. And when I started at Titan, I started as an account exec, and I worked my way up to be one of the managing partners in that agency. I managed Sydney and I managed Perth as well as Melbourne. I managed over 300 clients on my own without any support. And the one thing that set me apart at that point in time was I cared so much about the results, far more than what the agency did. And what I realized is, like, I actually cared more about those clients than the business did. And I'm like, to me, that's just not okay. I saw them inherit clients. I saw them take on clients when the business wasn't ready to take them on. I saw that the lies that were promised to clients. And I was a person that tried to have to make, oh, thank you. Who's that? That has a lovely comment there. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mariska. Yeah, I love my dogs. But yeah, at that agency, I saw firsthand the lies that were being told to clients in order to get a sale across the line. And to me, being Irish, and me knowing that, to me, that's just stealing. If you can't deliver on your promise, then don't promise anything at all. Because I was a person on the front line having to fulfill what that dodgy salesperson promised that client. And 9 times out of 10, I would have turned that client around for sure. But it was a very stressful time in my life, but it definitely makes running a business like a walk in the park. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for that specific experience, because I got both my sponsorship and my permanent residency with this specific agency, and they're no longer in business now. And I totally respect what they did for me in my career, and understanding what the lesson was for me that I needed to learn. And that was pretty much doing the right thing and creating an impact in the industry. I then worked for another traditional agency in Perth, the brand agency. And then after that, then I worked at a smaller boutique agency, Concept Marketing, where I was the head of account management. But what I found is that a lot of the places I worked, they had a common theme running through them. And that was over promising and under delivering. And clients were just unhappy. And when I actually got my hands on a lot of the accounts, I could see that the work actually wasn't done. And the fact of digital, you can actually track every single step. And a lot of people don't know the secrets that I know. So that is where I was like, okay, I really need to create a positive impact. And then when my previous clients approached me and said, Sonia, can you just do your own thing? We just want to work with you. I took that, okay, this is the universe trying to tell me I just need to start the business. So I started back in 2018, was under the radar for a whole year, didn't have a website, didn't even know I wanted to even make a thing of it. I was like, okay, I'm like making good wage, I'm paying the bills, that's all I wanted to do. And then it wasn't until I started seeing the amazing results clients were getting and the businesses that were being transformed that I realized, you know what, I'm in my own way. I need to actually get over myself, and what I have needs to be shared with people so I can actually help transform their businesses and their lives. So the minute I got out of my own way, put myself out there, doing all the uncomfortable fields, like, doing the networking, doing the website, marketing yourself, because let's face it, you as a business is always the person that, this is what I find from a lot of the business owners that I've been surrounding myself with, you're always the person that puts yourself last. You'll do everything for everybody else, and you always put yourself last. So marketing yourself in a marketing industry was incredibly difficult and really challenged my deep inner beliefs that I thought I had dealt with. But yeah, that I who did I think I was? Imposter syndrome was real, let me tell you. And 3 years on, business is, honestly, it's gone beyond my wildest expectations, like of what we've achieved. And now I have a team of 15 people, all dedicated to making a positive impact within the industry. I absolutely adore what I do. Literally what makes me sing the most is looking at my clients' results and seeing how many phone calls, email inquiry forms, online sales that they've made from the work that we're doing. We actually literally have a victory dance every time we see that happen, because until a client actually sees those results, to us, we're literally nonstop trying to figure out the solution for that. But when we find that sweet spot, by God, that is the most rewarding of all. And from that business, we have not lost a single client. Every one of our clients are getting exceptional results, which I'm very, very proud about. I've made a lot of decisions, such as not taking on every single client. We only work with clients that mirror our values of trust, respect, loyalty, integrity, because I didn't set up my business to just work with everyone. I set up my business to enjoy the people I work with and who works for me. So a lot of the people that work for me as well also mirror the values. So if I can say anything when you're building a business, please make sure that what you're doing, your values comes through not only with the clients that you work with, but the people you also work with. Because if everybody's on track with the mission and understand where you're going in terms of your goals, and that all align with your values, it just minimizes so much unnecessary stress. So I absolutely adore my team. I adore my clients. My clients are like my babies. My girls, my team, they're all like my sisters and my brothers. Like it's just fab. We're all just like one big family, so it's gorgeous. But yeah, I just wanted to share my story because I haven't really gone way back. I've just said, oh yeah, I'm Sonia the Search Queen and I run an agency, but it's so much more than that. So my mission is literally to help transform businesses and make sure that they can be as profitable as they possibly can. I have heard the horror stories like you wouldn't believe, and I'm going to go into them in a lot more detail now. And the 4 most common problems that I see is the main thing I'm going to discuss today. But I am running a workshop on Tuesday, speaking specifically about Google. But for now, I'm just going to go through. Oh, there's my lovely Coco and Milo again. So Coco is actually Milo's auntie. And just as another fun fact, I actually delivered Milo last year. So our friends are actually the dog breeders. And I before even Milo was conceived, I was like, oh, can I be there for the birth of the dogs, like the puppies? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So I was actually there, and he was born the 3rd of July last year. So you can imagine, like, these dogs are just divine. Anytime we go walking, the attention they get is ridiculous. I can't even cope. So it's fab. But anyway, enough about the dogs. Let's get back to business. So the common marketing problems that business owners face. The first one, my God, if I had $1 for every time a business owner says to me, yeah, I need more business, but I don't have any budget for marketing, I honestly could retire forever. But I'd never do that because I absolutely adore what I do. I literally love it. So, but when we talk about no budget for marketing, you wouldn't go to your accountant and say, yeah, I'll just lodge all my tax. Or you wouldn't go to Julie. You wouldn't not use what Julie does to fulfill a need. And that would be to get your tax lodged and get your financial planning in order. It's a whole area of expertise. But what has become more apparent in this day and age, because social media is so accessible, everybody tries a bit of this and a bit of that, and oh yeah, I'll do social media and I'll create a post. Thing is, what I say is doing your own marketing is like saying that you don't need an accountant to pay your bill or to deal with the ATO. Marketing is a specialist field that requires a lot of experience and a lot of education in order to get it right. Otherwise, you're going to waste your money. So this is a problem that I see all the time. If you don't invest in your marketing, you're not growing your business. So my advice is anyone that is marketing their business themselves or doing all the marketing, and if your business isn't growing, you're not doing marketing at all, because your marketing is actually meant to make you money, not cost you money. And also it also comes back to strategy. So I see this a lot, like, when, oh yeah, I don't have budget, but then it's kind of like, oh, I do a bit of Facebook ads, or I do Google ads, or I do this, or I do that. But then when we actually look at the account, the work is not delivering a result. And when I say deliver a result, I'm talking about hard, cold phone calls, email inquiry. I'm not talking about increases in traffic. I'm not talking about page clicks, image clicks, none of that. That means literally nothing in the grand schemes of sales. Okay. So what we track as a business is only the things that relate most to an eventual sale. So if you're a service-based business, a lot of that, sorry, I'm just going to let Nikki in. If you're a service-based business, phone calls and an email inquiry forms are literally the closest thing that can help you with a sale. So when we actually get those leads for clients, the onus is on that business owner to convert them into a client. However, it's different when you're an online shop because you can actually drive the sales through the online shop, and the online shop allows product purchases. So for a service-based business, what we track is just phone call and inquiry form, phone call and email inquiry forms. For an online, it's online sales, an online shop that has product. So some of the people that I have worked with, or some of the clients that I have taken on, and when I look at Google Analytics and when I look at what things are actually being tracked as conversions, like, so a report could look great on paper, but if it's not translating to sales, there's an issue going on. So when I say that, I'm talking about, I've seen people track image clicks as a conversion or landing page visit as a conversion. That's not a conversion. A client's objective to do marketing is to drive sales. And anything else that's tracked other than phone call and email inquiry forms or online sales, it doesn't actually mean anything. So when I say budget, I'm talking about you need to have a budget that can actually make you money, not cost you money. When we talk about budget, I'm talking about how much you need to actually invest in marketing is 10% of your overall gross revenue, your gross profit for the end of the year. And then of that 10%, 50% of that needs to go to online marketing activities. And the reason why that needs to go to online marketing activities because of the nature of where we are in this day and age. Old school, traditional advertising like TV, radio, press, print, none of that is actually with the times anymore. People don't even watch live TV anymore. So why are we running TV ads? People don't listen. They're watching catch-up TV or Netflix or Stan or any of the like dodgy box or whatever you watch, all the free to air stuff. You know, people don't watch live TV. Don't sit down like, I need to watch my program at 7 o'clock tonight. People don't do that. People's time has become less and less limited during the times that we live in. And the same applies to radio. People don't listen to the radio anymore. You know, I not as much as what they used to anyway. They listen to Spotify because they can listen to their favorite artist over listen to your man telling the news or listen to another person talking about like just bursts of advertising in between the ads. So I'm not putting down radio. I'm just saying it doesn't work. And when I see about what people actually spend on radio, TV, and like it's just astronomical. Sorry, Nikki, can I repeat what I said? Yeah, absolutely lovely. So when I say in terms of your marketing budget, it's 10% of your overall gross profit is what needs to be invested into marketing. Of that entire 10%, 50% of that needs to be invested into online marketing activities. That's not your strategy. This is defining your budget. So I'll talk about strategy next as well. So that will make things a bit more clearer. But yeah. So again, just bear in mind in the last year alone, content consumption has doubled since 2020. So more than ever, you need to stand out from the crowd. And what we're seeing at this point in time is just more noise, like, you know, buy my thing, or I'm running a Facebook ad, buy my product, come to my workshop, do this, do that, do that. And honestly, what happens is we're not actually solving the problem either. We're just adding to the digital noise. So I'll speak about that in a second as well. Lack of focus on the problem solve is one of the ones I want to speak about. So marketing strategy, I think this is one of the things that so many people don't understand. You know, Instagram may not be right for your business. LinkedIn may not be right for your business. Or equally, doing a bit of Facebook ads may not be right for your business. So when I talk about the things that are easily accessible, a lot of the things that I see with smaller business owners and specifically, they're like, oh yeah, I do social media content. I'm like, okay, so what's your strategy? Like, oh, I don't have one. Okay. So why are you posting on social media? Oh, I'm just posting because everybody does that. Okay. And then when they say, okay, you're doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads. Great. So why are you doing it? I don't know, to get sales. What made you do it? Well, my friend down the road is doing it. So, or a friend of mine is doing it. So I said, I do it. A strategy, something that works for somebody else does not mean it's going to work for you. You need to have a strategy. A strategy, just to break that down even further, it's a plan to get you from point A to point B. It's literally a roadmap to figure out, okay, so where's your ideal client? Where do they hang out? What are they interested in? How do we target them? How do we solve their problems? What platforms do we use? What's our messaging? What promotion are we going to use? So that comes back to the fundamentals of marketing, which is product, price, promotion, and place. And people now. So you need to address all of those elements in order to figure out what your strategy is, because there's no point, let's face it, Leah, one of my students who'll be sharing in a few minutes as well about her story, she's just, because she's going through my program, she's realized, oh, my clients are actually on LinkedIn. I should be actually advertising on LinkedIn. And she's doing that. And she's doing that amazingly well. And she's getting massive traction from her ideal client. So my point is, you need to take a step back, think about where your ideal clients hang out, and formulate your strategy from that and with your budget. Okay. Now, next problem that we have is problem number 3. So when I say, this links into my last point as well. So when I say we're seeing a lot of buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, do this, do that, like this is what I want from you, what I want from you. Even on LinkedIn, if anybody plays on LinkedIn, the amount of DMs that I get every day of, hi, look at this, hi, look at that, do this, do that. It's like, honestly, you haven't even given me a chance to even get to know you. Like the way we're going right now, like with marketing, especially, it needs to be focused on relationships. And in order to form a relationship, you need to try and solve that person's problem. You can't be like, yeah, I'm trying to push more of my stuff here to get you to buy from me. Look what I have for sale. I'm great, and I can do this, and I'm the best person at this, and I'm the best. That doesn't mean shit to nobody. Like, it really doesn't. Unless you can solve somebody's problem, they don't care. Genuinely. So you posting a piece of content that literally isn't solving someone's problem is adding to the noise, and you're wasting your time. Perfectly honest, simply put. So don't add to the digital noise. Focus on the problems that you solve. So this might actually be good one for you. Jesus, I'm actually getting even more homesick listening to you. Oh, bless your heart. We'll catch up for coffee and you won't be homesick no more. When I talk about problems being solved, so I'm going to give you a really good example. I was just actually going to talk about skincare, because I actually have a client. They're one of the beauty spas up in the hills, and literally, we started SEO and Google Ads for them last year, and they couldn't keep up with the business, so we had to turn off Google Ads. And now they're just getting all of their leads from SEO, because SEO is a longer term strategy. Anyway, I digress. The reason why I'm telling you this is because we've set up their campaign around the problems that they solve. So when we have, their facial side of their business is a huge part of their business, and a lot of their clients, they were like, I want to target more people with problem skin. I'm like, great. So like, yeah, so I want to focus on microdermabrasion, peels, dermaplaning, all of this like technical stuff that their customer doesn't even know they even need it just yet. So they're at the top of the funnel, not knowing what exactly do I need here? Why am I here? Why are they trying to sell me dermaplaning? Why are they selling me like microdermabrasion? I don't even know why I need that. But the thing is, we've targeted them as being the solution to the problem. So the problem is, that's okay, Susan. Thank you for being here, lovely. So when I talk about the problem that you're solving, it's like, okay, so think about someone with problem skin. They want a solution to acne. Okay, so when we target the problem as being problem skin, and the solution is all of these solutions, but book a call or inquire today. But we're targeting acne as being the problem skin, as being the what we're trying to target, not necessarily, oh yeah, I want to push dermaplaning, I want to push microdermabrasion, because chances are people have never heard of your services. So you need to take yourself out of your business, think like how the end user is going to look for you, or think like how your customer is going to look for you. And then you create your campaign based on the problem you solve. It's not based on what you have for sale, because nobody cares. And everybody's trying to everybody's trying to sell shit at the moment, and it's incredibly overwhelming. LinkedIn at the moment, I'm going to do a post on LinkedIn in the next few weeks to say, stop trying to sell your stuff to me, because it's absolutely it's so bad, because I'm stopping. I honestly, it's every time I open up LinkedIn, hi Sonia, hi, I want this, can you buy this? Can you have a look at my website? Can you tell, this is what I have for sale? I'm like, honestly, you're getting it all wrong. Okay. So I hope that solves that. So think about what problem you solve, and think about where your customer hangs out, and market to them then based on the solution that you solve. Okay. Or problem that you solve, more like, sorry. Problem number 4, marketing integrity. So this is something that is so passionate to me, and more so because I have seen, as the business has grown, I've seen more and more and more horror stories where clients' expectations have been set so high when it comes to especially digital marketing, and they're being promised the world. They're being promised first page presence on Google, and Google can't even guarantee that. And it's lies, and there's lies being told. One of my biggest goals, on top of all my other goals that my team are trying to keep up with, is to actually regulate my industry, which the industry of digital marketing. And purely that is because it's such a saturated market where everybody's saying, oh, I can do this and I can do that and I can do I can do digital, but it's incredibly saturated with the wrong type of approach. And when I say that, I'm not saying it to throw rocks at my industry. I'm saying it because I'm actually on the side of the clients, and I see how hard clients work for their money that they have in their business, and to see it go down the drain from not being promised the right type of service. So when I talk about that, they're guaranteeing leads, they're guaranteeing cost per click, they're guaranteeing all the things that you can't guarantee because Google determines that at the end of the day. I've inherited recently, and I'm going to share this not to scare you, but to actually show you the extent of the problem. So I've recently taken on one of my top home building clients to do Google Ads for them. And literally in 3 years, I took it from one of the biggest agencies in Perth. Well, I was handed it because I have some of the other brands. And literally, I opened up the Google Ads account, checked the change history, and the campaign hadn't been touched in 3 years. The client had paid $110,000 for no work done, nothing. Google is not the problem. It's the resource that's managing it for you. And people can hate me all they want. I'm not called Sonia the Search Queen for no reason. What I get delivers a result. Google is not the problem. Google is absolutely incredible. It's the biggest marketplace in the world. Anyone who is never will be your customer, and they're searching every second, every minute of every hour of every day. There is 3.5 billion searches per day on Google. 40,000 searches per second on Google. Why would you not be there? Every time you're looking for something, you're like, Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it. You want to target people in the micro moments before they even know they need you. So that is why I do what I do. That is why I have niched into Google, because Google lights me up and everything is trackable. When you run a TV or a radio, press, or print ad, it's not as trackable as digital. You can literally, I'm really good at pulling a campaign apart. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. We're targeting the wrong solution. This needs to change. This needs to be optimized. The minute you start optimizing a campaign or in a solution, bang, that's where the secret sauce is. So that is why I've niched into Google, and I'll speak a bit more about that after. But those problems that I have, that I am sharing with you, it's not to like scare you, but it's to show you there's a lot of traps you can fall into if you don't know what you're talking about, or if you don't fully understand it. And my goal is to educate you to make sure that it's not about coming working for me, because I'll be perfectly honest, I have a waiting list of clients wanting to work with me. Between you and I'll always have a waiting list of clients, because I don't decide to work with everyone. I don't want to be busy with the wrong type of clients. I want to be busy with the right type of clients that are just as committed to us as we are to getting the goal, and we work as a team, not against each other. So what I'm saying is I'm educating you this to give you the smarts that you need to understand in order to make the right decisions around your marketing. Because I've been full spectrum. I haven't just been in digital. I have literally worked all up six agencies globally. And there's a common theme that runs through them. It's all about money. And I understand money is what makes the world go round, but that's not why I set up my business. I set up my business to make a difference in the industry and make a difference in business owners' lives. And that is what drives me every day. I don't just do it for me. I get out of the bed every morning, I'm like, no, my clients need me. I need to show up at showtime, even when my heart is breaking, because I can tell you I've had a lot of personal stuff happen this year. And if it wasn't for my team and my business and my clients, I'm telling you, I wouldn't have found the balance in getting me through some of the toughest time, especially when I can't get home. My mom is actually not well at home in Ireland as well, and there's a few other things that are happening. So like, all I can say to you is that, you know, there are problems out there that need to be solved, and you are the solution to those problems. You just need to figure out how to communicate better to your audience. But what I do want to do is pass you to one of my beautiful students, Leah. Hi, Leah. How are you? I'm going to just unmute you, my love.
Good. I didn't realize you'd stolen a photo from my.
And I love it. I'm super proud of you.
Thanks.
My lovely. Let's make sure. Can everyone see Leah? 1 second. Stop share. I might just stop share, and I might just make you speaker view. Now, Leah, can you please share with everyone what your business is and what problem you solve, and tell me everything.
So I'm an interior designer, and my niche is bringing Aboriginal culture into contemporary design. So I'm Aboriginal, but it was a little bit challenging kind of finding where my ideal clients was. Hang on, I can't hear myself with my speakers.
Okay, I might just
with my
for
headphones.
that, Leah, I might just stop you just for 1 second because I don't think I introduced you properly. Leah's been doing my online program, the Marketing Republic Academy, which solves all the problems that we just mentioned. So Leah is one of my top students. She's absolutely killing it at the moment. And I couldn't not ask her to speak, because this girl, when I first met her, like, and looking at her now, is just like night and day. And my program is predominantly set up for smaller businesses, because my agency, the level of clients that I work with from an agency level spend a minimum of 2.5 grand a month up to 15 grand a month. So in terms of the program I've created, I created the knowledge so that people can actually tap into my knowledge, but not having the high price tag. And when I talk about smaller business owners, I feel incredibly passionate, because you guys are the ones that are going to fall into the traps that I know I can prevent you falling into, which is why I created the program. So sorry, Leah, without further ado,
That's so good.
please explain. Again, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all good. Yeah, so when I first met Sonia and started out with the program, I was feeling super overwhelmed. I'd only been in the industry for about 3 years, and because I had this niche that I knew that I wanted to do, but there wasn't really anyone that I could see was doing it, I decided to go out on my own. But I've only been running the business from the start of the year, so trying to kind of find my way through the industry to how I could make my niche and target my ideal client without having anybody doing it before me was a little bit daunting. And yeah, I was feeling a bit overwhelmed, and there was a lot, as Julie was saying, you do end up wearing all of these hats. And while I'm confident in the design side of it, all the business management, the marketing, accounting side of it was not my specialty, not what I started a business for. So through the program, I've been able to step outside of my own business, and looking back in, especially coming from a design perspective, I guess I was all caught up on how it looked and making it look pretty and doing the branding side of it. But I hadn't actually really thought about how I was going to implement that into a marketing strategy, and how I was going to target my ideal client, or even where my ideal client was. So at the beginning, I was spending quite a lot of time on Instagram, just kind of posting. I did have a little bit of a strategy in the kind of posts that I was doing, but not necessarily why I was posting those particular posts, because I hadn't worked out the problem that I was solving. So the problem that I'm solving for my clients is there's a lot of people who want to bring Indigenous culture into either their residence or their office spaces, but they don't know how. Or there's the other side of it where businesses don't even consider doing it. So it's kind of like breaking the wheel and restructuring how people think about bringing Aboriginal culture into design. So I was doing a lot of social media marketing on Instagram, but then I kind of took a step back with the program, which had this clear structure of stepping through from branding to creating your marketing strategy. And I realized that my ideal client isn't really on Instagram, it's on LinkedIn. So I am still doing my Instagram, which is more just kind of getting known in the industry. And then I'm focusing my LinkedIn marketing on where I can get that those new leads coming through and reaching new clients. So I have recently returned from Sydney, where I just was over there seeing the prototype for the modular sofa, which I designed, which was yeah, pretty awesome. And it's actually it's a pretty big achievement in furniture design, because it's really hard having a product go from concept right through prototyping phase to actually being on the market and available to purchase. So I've been working with a company, or I've had a company pick up my design and work with me on that. So I've kind of been revolving my marketing around getting bringing my Instagram following through the journey and then using my LinkedIn platform to kind of promote the end product, because that's where it is a commercial furniture piece. So that's where a lot of my ideal client for that piece is placed.
Thank
And-
you so much for sharing, Leah.
No
And what
worries.
was so your biggest learning, if you could wrap it up in one word from the program to date? What are you finding the best thing that you learned?
I guess the biggest learning curve has been working out my ideal client and how and where to contact with them. But another thing, I guess, in the more personal level, based on where I was at the beginning, is I was feeling so overwhelmed, was at a point where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing this. I should just go work for somebody else. The design industry is booming at the moment. I don't think there's ever been so many jobs advertised, which I still get notifications of all the time. But no, I was like, no, I know that I need to be doing this. But having through some of the networking events that Sonia's hosted, having some of the guest speakers talk about how we all have those feelings of being overwhelmed or feeling like we should be doing better. We don't know what we're doing. Like they're common feelings that a lot of business owners feel. And I guess being able to share that with other people in the industry has made me more confident that it's a normal process to go through, and it's not. And looking at then where those people are now, it's something that you just kind of have to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Leah, for sharing your
No
little
worries.
legend. Little legend. No, Leah is one of the students of the Marketing Republic Academy. And honestly, Leah, I'm loving seeing your success, and keep it going, hon. You're absolutely smashing your goals, loving it, really. And
Thanks,
truly.
Sonia.
And it's literally making me light up every time we have the group coaching calls to see how well you're doing. So no, keep it up. You're amazing, my love. But if any of you guys want to find out more about the Marketing Republic Academy, it's not officially launched to the general public just yet. I'm holding it back. But if anyone's wanting to know more information, the girls will drop a link into my schedule if you want to book a call to see if that's right for you, because as I said, it's predominantly there for smaller business owners that can avail of my my expertise without the high price tag. So fabulous. You're welcome, Leah. Thank you again, darling, for speaking. Now, without further ado, so Google, as I explained, I niched into Google. And if you'd like to know more about Google and the secrets about being found online, I actually have a workshop happening next Tuesday, specifically on Google. And I'll be teaching you how to attract, optimize, and monetize your website to ensure that you can actually set up for the financial year and beyond, and show you the secrets that most experts will not share with you. So this is all of the event details. So what I'll do is I'll get the girls have dropped the link for the event. It's called Invisible to Optimize right here. So the tickets are usually $497. But for the first 10 people who secure their tickets today, you actually get them for free as a complimentary for being here at our event today. So this event is literally going to blow your mind. It's one of the ones that, you know, the events that you will go to and you'll be like, okay, now it makes sense. I'll speak to you in a language that you'll understand. I will not further confuse you. I'll speak to you in a language that you'll walk away from that event feeling more empowered than ever and knowing what you need to do around your Google strategy. So yeah, the link is in the chat. Do book your ticket now if you want some time to do that, because we're actually announcing the winner of the Lucky Door prize, which Julie has for the tax assessment. So that tax assessment, we're going to be announcing that in like 2 minutes. So just going to pick the winner. Fabulous, Thomas. Lovely. Thanks that you're here. Everybody else, drop in the comments when you're done. So don't want you to miss out on the tickets, because we've only opened up 10 for free for you guys that are at the event today. So just bear with me one sec. Now, I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes before we do the Lucky Door of the Lucky Door prize winner. So just bear with me. Done, Clinton, great. Who else do we have here? Mariska, are you coming, my love? And who else have we got? We have, yes, you're already registered, Bernadette, with all those links you've registered to recently. You are. Leah, you're coming as well. Fabulous. Mariska's coming as well. Amazing. Nikki's already registered. Yes, you are. Fabulous. Carly, fabulous. Lovely. Great. Curly, are you coming with us? You going to come into the event next week? And Melissa, what about you, darling? Are you going to come? Be lovely to have you. Carolyn, let me know if you guys are going to be able to make it. Drop it in the comments if you can make it or not. Be lovely to have you all here. Because if you enjoyed today, wait, your mind will even be blown. Yes, you are, Cara, you are registered. Your mind's going to be blown next Tuesday, and that is predominantly, I'm literally going to take away the overwhelm and literally take away those smoke and mirrors around Google. So you'll feel very, very empowered and you'll understand what you need to do moving forward. Can't wait either, Cara. Thank you. So the lucky winner of today's prize for the free tax assessment is, bear with me, I'm going to stop sharing for a sec. You want to come and announce that?
Oh, sure. It was a random generator.
Now,
And the girls have said the winner is Kiralee. Kiralee. Oh, there you
do you
go.
want to unmute yourself?
Hello,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations, Kiralee.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention because my my internet is so slow and I was trying to register for the other event.
Well, you've
okay.
got everything today, haven't you?
I know. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to register and it won't let me back in. But anyway, yes, I think I've registered for the event and I'm very excited about the prize. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, ladies.
My pleasure.
Amazing.
Now, so don't forget as well the competition that I have running. If you haven't taken your picture, make sure you take a picture now, right? So I want, firstly, the girls are actually all going to take a picture of us together. So if we can all smile, if you don't mind. Okay, we ready on the count of 3? Are you taking the picture on the screen? Sorry. Girls, you take, sorry, bear with me. Are we ready? Let me know when you're ready. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Julie, come in. My other star of the show.
I can't take
Let
a
me know when you're
screenshot quick
ready.
enough.
1, 2, 3. Ready? Done? Girls, are we done?
My
Yeah.
smile's going to come off.
My face hurts from smiling. So as I said, don't forget about the competition that I have. So there, as I said, there's a spot up for grabs for the person who tags themselves with a picture of today's event. And the best caption wins about what you've learned from today's event. And the lucky winner will be announced tomorrow, the 9th of July, 4 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. So don't forget. So if anybody needs any more time to register or to take any pictures, I'm going to give you a few minutes now at the end. And equally, if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those now as well. But I have to finish with something Irish. So this is sláinte. So this is a very common phrase that we say in Ireland before we drink a drink, or if you're wishing anybody well, you'd say sláinte. So I want to wish everyone health, wealth and happiness. So this is a very common thing and it's very part of my Irish culture. And I hope everyone enjoyed today. But what I am going to do, I'm going to open the floor if anybody has any specific questions that I can answer while you have me here. Otherwise, we can happily wait till next week on the event if you'd like. Go raibh míle maith agat. Thank you, Bernadette. Bless your heart. Does anyone have any questions, guys? Has everybody registered now for the event? Yes? Fabulous. Claire, you're in New Zealand. I know you're in New Zealand, my lovely, so that's fine. No problem. Clinton, you're registered. Thomas, you're registered, correct? Kiralee, you're registered. Fabulous. Mariska, all done. Fabulous. Melissa, anybody have any questions? Please unmute yourself. I'll be here for another few minutes to allow yourselves to get more photographs. Everyone can unmute. Anyone have any questions?
What's the best way to sorry, interrupt. What's the best way to market products?
Sorry, you, Thomas. Hi.
Yes.
I didn't know who was talking. So in terms of marketing products, as in?
Basically, I sell products online
Yes.
and getting them, getting conversion for them. See, I've got basically a little a projector.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we sell these online
Yeah. So
And
what are you
basically, it's
what are you
got a
currently paying
TV
for?
on it. It's got Netflix on it. It's got game. It's linked to a app store, and
Fab.
yeah.
Fabulous. How are you currently marketing? Because you have your own marketing agency, is that correct?
Yeah, well, I'm doing it all myself. See, when you've got a digital agency, because we're still in the first phase of funding and everything, I can't get all of my marketing guys onto it yet,
Right.
because then I'll have to pay them.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, it's just me doing all me having all the hats on at the moment and doing
Yeah.
most of the work.
So what I would be recommending for you is to set up an online shop for product.
Yeah, I've got an online shop.
Yeah. Are you on Shopify or what platform? Are you
Yeah, we're
using
doing
to find-
Shopify.
Yeah. So you're running any Facebook ads and you're running any Google ads? Display
We're
reminders.
running. Well, I haven't done Google Ads because of our budget at the moment. Everything's really tight because we put it all into getting the website not up to scratch at the moment. So yeah.
Right. So how long have you? How long? If you mind me asking, Thomas, how long has your business been in operation?
About 6 months. We're up and running before COVID, but then when COVID hit, we actually closed down and redesigned everything, like revamped everything, the logo, rebranded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perfect. So as well, are you doing SEO? Because you say you offer SEO as well.
SEO, well, my guys don't want me to do SEO yet because we're still getting projects coming in, but
Yeah.
the online store, we're not getting much traffic on that side.
Yeah, so an online store, like in order to get traction, SEO is a long-term strategy. So I'd be recommending you start SEO, white hat SEO. So when I talk about white hat, I'm talking about on-page, off-page technical. So
Yeah.
we'll learn more about that in the workshop on Tuesday as well.
Okay.
My recommendation is for you Google, like SEO and Google. It can take anything up to 6 months before you see an increase in rankings once you've implemented 6 months of implementation.
Yeah.
So my point is start SEO yesterday, first
Okay.
and foremost. And in terms of moving product online, e-commerce is the way to go. And then figuring out the solution that you saw, like the problem that you solve, and creating ad copy both in Google Ads and Facebook advertising as well is a good point. And then also I'd be recommending you do display and remarketing as well on Google. So display is targeting people at the very early stages of the cycle when they're up here and they don't
Doing
know
with
who
the
you are.
Google, isn't that costly to set up all that?
Sorry.
Doing it through Google, isn't it costly to set all that up?
The thing is with Google search that it's a campaign though, so of course it's going to cost. So
Okay.
Google, but in terms of if you want to move product instantly, Google Ads is the way to go. But if you have
Yeah.
time up your sleeve, SEO is the way to go. But if you want both and you have budget, I'll be doing SEO and Google Ads at the same time, because as your SEO takes off, you can cut back on the Google Ads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Fabulous. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody? Bernadette? Clinton, yes, absolutely.
This isn't a marketing question. The challenge I had today was actually getting into this webinar. I've done heaps of webinars, and I must say some are impossible to get into. It took me 10 minutes of hunting around to find the front door.
Okay, so you would have got the link in a calendar invite, and it would have been directly put into your calendar. So you just click the link.
So
what was your question?
What I worked out in the end was until I actually put it into my calendar, there was no way to access the webinar, and all the other links don't access the webinar. The only one that gets into the webinar is the one from the calendar. Yes. So, and I'm thinking, hey, I've already registered. I even spoke to you guys yesterday to make sure this would all function, and it didn't. I think it would be helpful to say to people, click the register button, put it into your diary, and then you'll be able to enter.
Great feedback. I'll keep that in mind for next time, definitely. Thanks for your feedback. Do you have any question though, while I have you?
No.
No? Absolutely. Okay, cool. No problem. Anybody else have any questions while you have me? If not, we might say that's a wrap. Bernadette, have you any questions, my lovely? You had a question about how to use with the competition. So you just need to pop the post on Instagram and tag Sonia the Search Queen about what you've learned most today from today's event.
That's grand. Is it okay in the story, or do you need it to be on the feed?
On the feed, honey, if possible. You can do it on both.
On the feed.
You can do it on both. Fabulous.
Sure, it's no bother to me.
Do stories
Good
so I
luck.
can share my story, and then everybody can contact
Okay,
me
I'll tag
at
you.
Amazing Skincare. Pleasure. No
52
problem.
menopausal and looking fabulous.
You stuff. Nikki, do you have any questions, my lovely?
Good luck.
No problem at all. Kiralee, have you any questions? No, we'll see you Tuesday anyway. So think of all your questions to get them ready. Okay, what are the biggest challenges when it comes to Google, and we can discuss them all Tuesday at the end. Okay. Fabulous. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's been fantastic having you all, and congratulations, Kiralee. And I'm very excited about this announcing the lucky winner of the program tomorrow. So stay tuned. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye-bye. Thank you. Julie, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.